right.
All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Off the Axis podcast. I'm Jonathan,
And I'm Elvin.
and we have quite the show for you this evening. Typically we dive in and do deep dives, do a lot of research coming in. This evening, am going to do more of a monologue and address some issues I see with our nation, what's going on. I'll talk about the war a little. I'll talk about the indoctrination of the right and how it seems to be similar to the left. We're going to dive into Trump. What are you going to touch on this evening?
I'm going to do the Iranian blockade that just happened not too long ago, and I'm also going to go over why the negotiations between the U.S. and Iran failed over the weekend.
All right, so big show. I'm just going to go ahead and take the lead here. We've had quite the interesting week, guys.
Very.
The war's on pause. Was, is, isn't, will be.
Nobody knows.
Nobody really knows what's going on. Nobody really knows the game plan.
Nope, no game plan.
And we have these forever Trumpers who have nothing more to say than 4D chess all the time.
Yep.
And I myself am beginning to become more than frustrated with this. Listen, guys, I want to start by saying I have been the largest Trump supporter you may have ever known.
Yeah, I remember.
I admired him growing up.
Mm-hmm.
I looked up to him in business. I read all of his books. I watched all of his videos.
Mm-hmm.
Watched the first season of his show. Even I don't like that kind of television, but I even watched that. In 2015, became very loud and supported him all the way into the 2016 election. Mm-hmm. I spent hundreds of hours on the campaign trail working for the campaign.
Okay.
I did the same thing again in 2020. I have voted for him in the open elections 3 times. Wow. I have voted for him in the primaries twice. Mm-hmm. I was the biggest Trump supporter. I was gung-ho just with everyone. But I can't just continue to give blind support, and things are clearly not going the way we anticipated. We were sold something we're not receiving. We voted for him based on a select set of ideals and principles which are not being adhered to. No war. That was a big one. Cheaper energy, another big one. Mild deflation to help families with the rising costs during the Biden administration. Our censorship of freedom of speech. The weaponization of the DOJ. The strings being pulled to ensure elitists always had control of specific industries. All of these things that we voted for, they haven't come to fruition. We're not getting mass deportations. Doge was an absolute bust, and it appears that Doge was actually just a reorganizing of alliances in the Department of Justice and an implementation of planting Palantir into all of our government organizations. That's where we are. I've been upset about these things. You've heard me be upset about them. Mm-hmm. But even so, you may have not believed this, but I was still a Trump supporter. I call people out on things I don't like, if you do something I don't like, best friend, dude, I'm going to tell you, you know this.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And it's my duty to tell you, just like it's my duty to not blindly follow any ideal or person. Mm-hmm. But we have crossed a threshold now with President Trump, and there's no turning back. And I believe that threshold was crossed with the posting of the picture the day before yesterday. Mm-hmm. Trump posted a picture. Let's go ahead and show these guys. Trump posted a picture clearly depicting himself as Jesus Christ. Let's see here. Where is it?
Oh, it is.
There it is. So are we loaded up here?
Yeah, we should be.
Okay,
Let me
cool.
double check.
So Trump posted this picture of him as Jesus Christ. He has come forward and made his excuses, but let's analyze the picture before we go in. Before I even accuse Trump of making a picture with AI to make him represent Christ, let's analyze the picture. Okay, first we have the red sash. I think that's very obvious. The white robe and the red sash.
Wait, before you start, I do want you to know too, this was a picture created months ago by an artist,
And he shared it.
and then he shared it, and then Trump took it a few days ago and reposted it, because this right here, it didn't look like that on the original picture. That the original picture, they were all soldiers.
Aha. And Trump altered it.
Yeah, whoever did that for Trump or Trump himself, he altered that top.
Okay, well then let's actually start with the top. As we look at the center figure in the top,
It looks like a demon to me.
that looks like a demon or a crown,
Something
or
like that.
maybe a specific angel who is supposed to be quite scary looking. Most angels
Something, yeah.
are scary looking, so maybe these are angels coming out of the sky. I would say that is the intent. I would say that is 100% the intent, is to,
It looked like a few soldiers on the side too. It looks like it.
yeah.
Some angels with soldiers, and
Let's
Yeah.
look at what he's wearing. The white robe, the red sash. We all know that is very much affiliated with Jesus Christ.
yeah, it's not a doctor like he said it is.
If you look at his left hand, there is light coming out of it.
Mm-hmm.
If I had to guess, that's the light of the world. You have birds coming down upon him.
Yeah, bald eagle.
You know, maybe those aren't the type of birds from the Bible, but it's still that imagery that's being used.
Mm-hmm.
If you look over here into this general area, that is clearly Rome. That is clearly Rome. So,
No, because okay, so America on the right, Rome on the left.
right. So, who died during the Roman Empire? Christ. He's performing miracles, is what this is supposed to represent.
Right.
I would assume. Before we move on, let's just listen to what his response was.
What did he say?
Making people better.
But he's not a doctor.
You're not a doctor, you're president.
Right, he's a president, so he's not a doctor making people better.
So the first time I saw this picture, I did not know how to interpret it.
Mm-hmm.
It rubbed me wrong, but I didn't want to jump to any conclusions. So I took my time, took a day or two to really analyze it in my own mind. And then today I reached out to two people who are very important to me.
Okay.
Two spiritual leaders I have.
Mm-hmm.
Both pastors. One a Baptist pastor who actually has a very large name. I'm not going to say it, but you would know his name.
Mm-hmm.
And the other is a local pastor.
Mm-hmm.
And that married me, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Two men I trust to assist me interpreting the word of God, to assist me in making sure that I'm doing right, that I'm walking right, that I'm heading in the right direction. Two men I trust very much. And they both had very similar responses. The first said to me, "Well, Jonathan, you know there's not many things that disturb me. There's not many things in politics that get to me.
Mm-hmm.
There's not many things in politics that really, really grind my gears and rub me wrong and make me sick.
Mm-hmm.
But this doesn't. This is utter blasphemy." And I spoke to the second, and he had already seen the video of Trump explaining it away.
Mm-hmm.
And he had the same exact thing to say. It's blasphemy. And these aren't liberals. These aren't leftists. These aren't Democrats.
Okay.
These are two men who I would say don't throw around political affiliation or adherence very much. They don't speak on it. They don't say. But me knowing them and knowing their belief system, I know that they would reside what we would call as conservatives.
Conservative values.
Okay. Yeah. So they have traditional values. They have traditional interpretation of the Bible. This picture, guys, there's no writing it off. And I've had the discussion several times today with people who are friends of mine. And I've seen the comments in their posts and how they are trying to write this off. They're trying to make this a non-issue. They're trying to act like we are being crazy, or they're gaslighting us. So what this brings me to is the point that we have a very, very clear problem on the right.
Yeah, cultish, bro.
Yes. And I believe the right has fallen to cultism. And as I've thought on this, I believe it has been done by design. I believe that in 2015 or early 2016 or 2015, that as Trump was getting ready to run for president, they had to come up with a plan of how they were going to do this. And I believe that plan, in order to be successful, in order to gain a cult-like following, well, they would have had some clear things to look at, to follow, or to base their actions on. And I believe that one of those things was the very clear occult following of the left. And as we've moved forward over the last 10 years, we've seen the right fall more and more and more into a cult-like following, representing maybe with different ideals, but done in the exact same way as the left.
Yeah.
And I've watched some of you who were not Trump supporters really at first, maybe mildly, you voted for him, but you didn't even like him then. But now you're holding him down for everything. You're supporting him through everything. There's not a thing I can bring up that you don't have an excuse for. And this is the point at which no more excuses can be accepted. This came on the ass end of him attacking the Pope. I am no longer Catholic. I don't support a lot of Catholic traditions. I don't believe in a lot of Catholic ideas. But the Pope is a man of God. I don't agree with everything he says. I don't agree with what he does all the time. Okay? That's normal for everyone. But he is a man of God, and he is the largest faith leader in America. He represents more Americans of any faith than any other person in the world. So the way Trump has been speaking to him, because he doesn't support murder, because he doesn't support war, which no pope since the Middle Ages has supported, for him to say the things that he's saying is outlandish. And to follow it with this, he's spitting in your face, Christians. He's spitting in your face. He doesn't care what you think anymore. He doesn't care about your support. He doesn't care about telling you the truth. He doesn't care about your gas prices, your grocery prices, your home prices, your insurance prices. He doesn't care about illegals in your country by the tens of millions. It's all been a lie. And if you can't see it yet, you have been indoctrinated by the cult. I am the biggest of Trump fans. 2016, I had multiple copies of this shirt. Why? Because I wanted to wear them all the time. I rode my motorcycle around the city with a Trump flag flying from the back. I'm no liberal. I'm no Democrat. This shirt The day that Trump survived, I had this made.
Wow.
And I thought that day that this was a sign from God, quite possibly. Maybe he saved him so he could save us. This shirt, another liquid gold MAGA.
Oh, I remember that.
Well, boy, hasn't that aged horribly. I thought it was funny. And the last, Sons of Trump. Well, Trump.
And it's crazy, man.
Those of you who still have unwavering support, it's time to open your eyes. We cannot become like the left. We cannot become like the Democrats. We cannot become like the liberals. We cannot blindly follow to hell.
That's a good
We
point.
need to turn to our faith leaders and ask them how they feel about these situations. You know, I'm a Christ following man. I love God. I read the Bible all the time. But even I have questions and comprehension issues with the Bible that I have to have a leader to teach me. You need to take this picture to your faith leader. You need to take this war to your faith leader.
What did they say about the war when you talked to him about the war?
One is avidly against it, and he also sees it as an expansion of Israel, and this is a conservative man.
Okay.
An expansion of Israel, which just means that more people are becoming Jewish and not being saved. He sees it like I see it.
You see, okay. You see, like you see it. Okay.
The other has family that lives in Iran.
Oh,
So
really?
he has a very different perspective. His sister-in-law lives in Iran.
Oh, now what is his perspective? That's interesting. What is his perspective?
His perspective is that he believes that freeing the Iranian people is important. Freeing them of, as he said, the 30,000 deaths of protesters. This man, as I said, is not highly political. He doesn't deep dive into these things.
Yeah, that 30,000 not even verified.
That 30,000 is unverified, but neither here nor there. He said he wishes for them to be free, and that even his sister-in-law that lives there was like, yeah, I'm glad he's doing something, but they don't seem certain that they're really going to get what they deserve. And I think the longer the situation goes on, and every time I talk to him, it becomes more clear to him, and likely more clear to his sister-in-law living in Iran, that this is not going to benefit her or the Iranian people or the average American non-elitist citizen.
Yeah, in my opinion, it brings more death and destruction to the Iranian people.
Far more. Yeah. So what happens if we topple the Iranian government?
Oh, yeah, that's complete death and destruction.
We have warring factions. We have ISIS, we have Taliban, we have all these warring factions in that area. They'll have no electricity, no running water. People will die of starvation, hunger, thirst.
And then you also cause a migration crisis. And where do migrants always end up?
Here.
In the West. Yeah, so then we have even more of an immigration crisis.
So as you go... you guys really just need to take your time, guys, and analyze this from a Christ perspective. This is blasphemy. And let's say that maybe he wasn't saying that he is Jesus. Maybe he was saying he is like Jesus. Well, if you open to 2 Corinthians, you can find that we are not supposed to be comparing ourselves to not even to one another, much less to Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I think he got a invincible complex when that bullet passed his head. Because even Alex Jones was like, he tried to talk to him about... No, Alex Jones was talking to Tucker Carlson, and Tucker Carlson was saying that he had went to Trump, and he was telling Trump that the information that he was getting on going into this war was bad information, and they were trying to set him up. And Trump's response was, well, I get through everything, I'll be okay. So his response was he knew that they were setting him up, giving him bad information, but since he can get through everything, he'd be okay. So I think he's developed like a God invincible complex, ever since that bullet passed his head.
And do you think it started then, or do you think it's always been there and we failed to see it?
I think it's always been there, but I think it amplified when that bullet passed his head. Because I think the bullet passing his head, beating 5-6 cases. I mean, he's passed through things that normal people usually get taken down for. Yeah. So I think he's developed some of a God complex where he think he's just invincible. And I think it's getting to the point where he almost views himself as a god.
I think this is evidence of that.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is evidence that even if he doesn't see himself as a god, he believes that he should be revered as one.
Yeah.
And guys, I'm not here to say this is the coming of the Antichrist. I'm not here to say that that's him. I'm not even here to say that Trump is always a bad guy, or that he always has the worst in mind, or that he's always pushing those. I honestly don't believe that.
No, I don't believe that.
I don't believe that. But I'm telling you, these mistakes, you cannot ignore them. This is serious, guys. And if we allow others to think this is okay, we allow others to think having a complex or a reverence for oneself like this is okay, we are leading others down the path to hell as well. And that's unacceptable. Wherever he wants to lead people is one thing. But you guys, me, you, believers of Christ, this is unacceptable. And we need to speak up about it. You know, the time is gone to sit in silence. The time is gone to sit in silence, guys.
Have you seen any conservative podcasters speak up against it?
No.
Or all of them are kind of complicit?
Everyone is making excuses that I've seen.
Yeah, oh, wow.
I'm sure Fuentes went in on him. I'm sure.
I did see Candace Owens went in on him.
Candace Owens went in, but who?
Tucker Carlson went in on him.
Yeah. But, you know, and the funny thing is, these are the only people who've been standing up to him the whole time.
Yeah, it's only like 3, 4, 5 people stand up.
These are the people who broke out of the cult.
Yeah, they broke
And what happens? You can watch any documentary. What happens when people break out of the cult? They're attacked. Mm-hmm. They're smited. They're treated horribly. Sometimes they're killed. They're silenced.
Yeah, because did you see the post he made about Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, and
yes,
and Alex Jones?
Yes, I did.
That was crazy.
And for him to turn his back on Alex Jones of all people,
yeah, now that's really crazy.
Who has done nothing to him?
Yeah,
who's done nothing but been a faithful supporter, even in times when he really shouldn't have been. Just like me,
yeah,
just like you. Mm-hmm. Even in times where we should have shied away.
And Alex Jones kind of predated Trump. He kind of opened the door to a MAGA type movement in the first place.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he definitely led the way.
Absolutely. So guys, I'm sick with it. And that's just the beginning. Let's go into a little more of these cult-like things that we're hearing now. Everyone's saying, everyone's excusing that. That is the absolute epitome of blasphemy. And excusing it and making cover for it is blasphemy. So be careful, guys. Be careful. I don't want you standing in front of God explaining this.
Crazy.
Moving on. I was watching Hannity today, or listening to Hannity on the radio on the way home.
Okay.
And I've heard several people come through this train of thought that he was having on the radio today. And essentially what he says is, we're trying to dismantle Iran in a nice way. And that's why we haven't blown up Karg Island.
What?
That's what he said. He said, we're trying to seize the world's energy control. And is the whole plan of this, is what he's saying.
Even though we haven't been told that. But
even though we haven't been told that, that's what he's saying. He said, we can't we could blow up Karg Island immediately and blah, blah, blah. We're not doing it because it's going to absolutely destroy oil prices. World trade will collapse.
Yeah. That Karg Island produces about 90% of Iranian's oil.
Yeah. So That's just not the case. We're trying to dismantle the Iranian regime in a nice way. This is stupid. So last month, guys, this is not something that is really commonly known. Last month, Trump granted a tariff relief to Iran to drive oil prices back down for consumers across the world. In doing so, Iran had $8 billion of revenue.
Wow.
If you look back, how many times have we heard Obama gave Iran $2 billion.
Oh, man.
Oh, my God, he's a traitor. He's a globalist traitor. He gave Iran $2 billion. Trump just gave them $8 billion and then attacked them. Now, let's ask ourselves, why would Trump want Iran to have $8 billion?
This is a good question.
Well, what happens when Iran runs out of money? The proxies run out of money. What happens when the proxies run out of money?
Israel don't have nobody to fight anymore.
Israel doesn't have a reason to seize more land. This really is not difficult to follow, guys. It really is not difficult to follow. We know the Greater Israel Project. We know they want a portion of Lebanon. We know they want a portion of Syria. We know they want a portion of Iran. We know they want a portion of Iraq. We know that. They've admitted it. It's in their own paperwork.
They want complete hegemony. Complete hegemony in that region.
And without these proxies, they can't take that land.
No, they have no excuse to fight.
They can't take the land. So we gave them $8 billion. And now we're continuing to bomb them, continuing to fight them, continuing this war.
Right. That's why when people say that this war is trying to free the Iranian people, it's only emboldening and making the Iranian government even stronger. They even put even more of a stronghold on the Iranian people.
Yep. He went on today on his radio show to say that we should arm the Iranian public. We should arm the Iranian civilians so that way they can overthrow their government.
They won't do that.
They can't do it. Well, they can, but here's the problem. Sean Hannity's a well-read man. He has written books that are based on historical topics. This is what he does. Pretending like Sean Hannity doesn't realize what happens every time we arm Middle Eastern militias? What happens every time?
Oh, that fails every time.
We fought ISIS, who we armed. We fought the Taliban, who we armed.
And in my opinion, Iran doesn't even have enough supporters that would even do that anyways, because they tried that in the beginning of the year when the Mossad tried to get them to overthrow the government, and it failed and it didn't work. And then Trump came in thinking that if he toppled the leaders and take the leaders out, that people would rise up and overthrow the government. They didn't rise up then. So you got a faction of Iranian people that are scared to rise up, but then you also got a faction of Iranian people
who believe in their supreme leader.
Believe in a supreme leader and would never try to take over their country. That is why when the new supreme leader, his son, was elected, there were millions of people in the streets celebrating this. You think those millions of people are going to overtake the Iranian government?
And this is the scary thing, guys. So if you look at that situation, when you bring religion into politics, that is what you get. And now I ask you to look at our country right now. Look at our leaders telling us that it's the Christian thing to do to murder Iranians, that it's the Christian thing to do to support all of Israel's wars. It's the Christian thing to do. That's what we've heard from Trump, Rubio, all of them.
Yeah.
And now Trump's posting pictures of him as Christ. This shows clearly, it's a clear path of all cults, how they build. And the introduction of religion or religious-like qualities into a cult is the final part of where they go fucking nuts, guys. It's when shit hits the fan.
Yeah.
And I know some of you are brainwashed already, and maybe you've turned off the stream already, if you have. You know, most who are who've fallen into this and haven't been able to dig themselves back out have probably turned off the stream, probably won't watch the show. And that's sad because these are the people we need to be reaching. We are at a very pivotal point in American history, guys. Whether you want to look at how much debt we're in, whether you want to look at us falling as a Christian nation, whether you want to look at all these wars, whether you want to look at the immigration, we are facing serious turmoil.
Mm-hmm.
And what better time than during serious turmoil for you to introduce religion into the occult?
Mm-hmm. That's true.
And, you were mentioning all the supreme leaders and things that they've killed. That's the other Hannity always. We've killed tier 1. We've killed tier 2.
It doesn't matter because
we've killed tier 3. They've got nobody left.
It doesn't matter because they have a mosaic defense, a mosaic military. So everything is separated. So
it doesn't matter.
It's not centralized.
And a religious people will always have a spiritual leader.
Yeah, and they always have a spiritual leader. Definitely. So they always have a reason to fight.
Always.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, I just come to you today begging you. I'm not begging you to not support Trump. And even if you do decide to not support Trump anymore, as I do not, it does not mean that you don't pray every day for his success. Because his success is my success.
Yeah, it's all of our success. Mm-hmm.
But this current thing he's doing is not for our success. Now, okay, so the big argument is that we are seizing control of the energy supplies of all energy supplies worldwide. That's the game plan. We can shut Saudi Arabia down. So I heard this big argument that I've heard is that we're losing the war on purpose.
Oh, good.
And the reason is so it can force us to do exactly what we've just done. Blockade the Strait of Hormuz, which forces oil tankers from across the world to come to American shores to fill up their barrels and head home.
Don't think that's going to work.
And it may work.
What did you say, 22?
I believe it was over 200 are on schedule to come now.
A day.
Not a day.
Because the Strait of Hormuz.
200 total.
Right, because the Strait of Hormuz was producing 150 ships a day. So how is that going to work?
Okay, let's pretend it does. Let's pretend his master plan. He replaces all these countries. He shuts down the Middle East. They've got no more funds. Everyone has to buy their oil from us. Do you own a fucking oil company? Because I don't.
Yeah, that's true.
Have you ever received a dividend check from something that I guess I have received dividend checks from oil companies via my stocks. But what is my $50 dividend check going to do for me? What is it going to do for the poor moms and dads who are paying $5.50 a gallon for gas right now? What's it going to pay for the working man who's paying $6.50 a gallon, $250, $300 to fill up his diesel truck to get his tools to work?
Yeah, I know. It's crazy.
How does energy dominance by American companies benefit you? You really need to ask yourself that. Now, does it benefit the longevity of our nation? Yes. But does it benefit the individuals? The ones that Trump said he was here to represent. He said he's not here to represent the big guys. He's here for you. He's here for me. He's here for you. How does selling bukus of oil benefit you? I can't. Listen, guys, we can extrapolate some ideas that are actually plausible. So, okay, there's more money in America, so there's more jobs because they're building more and they're opening more. Okay, how many freaking oil jobs can we really create? How many? Even if we're supplying the whole world, does the amount of money we've put into this war, the amount of money we're losing every day to paying off just the interest on our debt, do these jobs somehow fix that?
Not unless he thinks the revenue from that oil boom could be put towards our debt. and put
The
towards
money from that
like, the
revenue
economy.
goes to oil companies. Doesn't go,
It goes straight to oil companies.
goes straight to oil companies. They're selling their product.
Okay.
They are selling their product, not your product, not my product.
I see. Okay.
So, guys, I just want you to think about this, you know, and there are other ways that it helps us. You're right. But right now, as we have young mothers who can't afford to go buy groceries because they're paying double in gas what they were paying 2 months ago. Groceries are about to fly through the roof because of this gas. Every single item you buy is about to become exponentially more expensive because of these gas prices if they don't come down.
Yeah, and he said they might still be high around midterms.
They're still going to be higher on midterms. And the thing is, we have people, guys, that were already living paycheck to paycheck, that were already putting groceries on credit cards. What about them? What about them?
So I want to. Do you think we're losing a war on purpose? I don't, but you think we're losing a war on purpose?
I don't even know that we can say we're losing the war. I don't think either side is losing it.
You don't think either side is losing it?
I don't think either side's losing or either side is winning. I had this. Here's my research that I have for you guys today, and it's all on Trump's stated objectives and a deep dive into every single objective he said as we went into this war and how they're going about. And it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter because none of them have been completely accomplished other than their Navy is gone.
Well, I can say one thing. A lot of Iranian objectives have been accomplished. They said they had shut the Strait of Hormuz down. They
did.
shut it down. They said they attacked the Gulf states and destroyed them. They did that. So they have kind of carried through with all the things that they said they would do.
And ultimately, their only goal is survival as a nation.
Yeah.
That is it. They want to outlast our attacks until we're tired and gone and leave like we did Iraq and Afghanistan after thousands of people, dozens of them I knew, several I was close friends with, spilled their blood on those fucking foreign lands and died.
Yep. And then
I'm
we left.
sick of it.
Then we left Afghanistan. They took it back over in 24 hours.
24 hours.
Well,
This is a shit show, guys. And the guy perpetrating the shit show is posting pictures of him as Jesus. Guys, I'm hurt. I'm hurt by this.
yeah, I was watching Alex Jones
I'm hurt.
a little bit ago, and
I
he
feel,
was the same way. He looked like he was about to cry.
I feel betrayed. Not your trivial amount of betrayal, like, oh, my president did some things I don't want to do.
Yeah, just
No, I feel the hugest amount of betrayal. I put my faith in him. Put my time, hundreds of hours, into him.
yeah, and it's frustrating.
I've lost dozens of friends.
Yeah, because you
Maybe 100, maybe even, maybe not friends. Okay, that's an exaggeration. But at least acquaintances, close acquaintances, 50 to 100 because I supported him.
Yeah.
I've lost business deals because I've supported him, taken money out of my family's pocket. And what has he done to put any of it back?
Yeah, he's definitely lost his way. He definitely lost his way.
Guys, I'm sick. I'm sick. And I tried to keep it together. And then this picture came.
Yeah.
And I can't contain myself anymore. He's got to go. And I know he's not going to go
No.
for another 2.5 years.
Yes, he's
And
in
I
there
am-
for 2.5 years.
Not excited about what is going to happen the next 2.5 years. And
You think it's gonna get worse? Really?
And you have these people like Fuentes and, several others saying they're going to vote Democrat and they're pushing Democrats in the midterms.
I mean, that's not gonna help either.
And I've been thinking on that for a long time, and I agree. I was there the whole time. It's the worst idea ever. It's the worst idea ever. And as I thought about it a few nights ago, I realized something. That's the only way that the brakes are put on this machine. Now, I'm not saying it's the right decision. I'm not saying that's how I'm going to vote. But that's the only way brakes get put on this.
Well, on the right code, yeah. Definitely on the right code.
The only way.
On the right
supporting
code.
one cult versus another is not where we want to be.
Yeah, there is just
and American politics has devolved into this tribalistic cult nonsense where no one uses their fucking brains.
Yeah, nobody uses their brain.
And some people that I held in high regard of intelligence up until recently.
Yeah, some podcasts have really disappointed me.
And it's not because we disagree.
A lot of stuff I agree with them on, but it's just that little part, them little areas that I just don't agree with them on.
You know, as they say, even sun shines on a dog's ass from time to time. Mm-hmm. So yeah, maybe they get some things right. Maybe they're conservative. Or maybe they just chose conservative out of blind, stupid luck. And that's where a lot of people that we think, you know, a lot of these conservatives like, oh, they must be smarter than liberals. They're conservative. No, maybe they're just as stupid. And they are so stupid that they just chose a side at random and they got lucky. Just because you're stupid doesn't mean you can't be lucky.
That's true.
And I've come to realize that the vast majority of those on the right have subpar intelligence levels, just like those on the left. Yeah. And that's what's leading to this tribal occult nonsense. And if we don't fix it, we're going to lose our country.
And I think some of them, they have the intelligence, but they don't want to get kicked out of the club. So they speak a certain way in order to remain in good faith, good alliance.
They have no spine
with the MAGA movement.
And you know what a traditional Republican thing to have no spine.
Right. They have no spine. Exactly.
All right, guys. I'm gonna cut it there, but I'm heartbroken. I feel betrayed, and I feel massive amounts of sorrow for those in my nation. Specifically us, my Christian brothers and sisters who are willing to excuse this picture and act like it's not a big deal. Mm. Blasphemy is all through the Bible. That's what this is. Have at it, Owen. Have at it, buddy.
All right. Dang. Yes, that's sad. He's definitely lost his way. He definitely lost his way. And even more to him losing his way, I want to cover the blockade that he did.
If I didn't just fucking bring everybody down, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, you can.
I'm sorry. What a Debbie Downer. But guys, I just think it's important. Sorry to kill.
No, that was very important to get out.
Sorry for the buzzkill.
Oh, it wasn't no buzzkill. That's very important.
Maybe to go back.
That's what podcasting about. Let's see. But
and also, sorry for giving you guys a big ass long monologue. I'm not very good at those, but
no, that was good.
I needed to.
That was good.
Needed to get some things off my chest.
That was a good.
At the end of the day, I don't trust in Trump. I trust in God.
Yeah, you gotta trust in God. You can't put your faith in a man, anyways.
Nope.
Because they always let you down.
Yeah.
But I wanted to get into this straight up who's blockade that Trump implemented Monday. I think it was 10 a.m. Monday. Mm-hmm. And so my thing is with the blockade. Well, actually, you know what, guys? I'm gonna play this video first so you guys get a gist of what the blockade is about. Let's play this.
Were they already blocked?
Many ships, the traffic was down low.
Well, boy, if that doesn't just blow up all these conservative podcasters on the right, well, they're shutting it down so they can squeeze all the oil out of the Middle East and we get to sell it all.
No, just Iranian ports.
Just Iranian ports is what they're doing now.
Yeah.
So, go eat your pie. What the fuck are we doing?
Okay, so I wanted you guys to see that video. For essentially, you guys get a gist of what is going on with this blockade. Now, my thing on this blockade, I believe it's a complete failure. I believe blocking something that's already blocked is completely stupid. I believe that what is going to end up happening, just like in this video, oil prices are going to rise even further. Even like he says in the midterms, you might even see even higher oil prices. And then
Families can't do this, Elvin.
oh no,
Families can't
definitely.
do this, man.
And the thing that's making this even worse is Iran's response to this is it's possible that they will attack the Gulf states and take out all their ports. So if Iran takes out all the Gulf state ports, you got Oman, you got Saudi Arabia, you got
They can hit
Qatar.
Oman easy.
Yeah, Oman is right next to them. If they take out all those ports, all those countries produce 20% of the world's oil. If every single port within the Middle East is destroyed because Iran is retaliating because of what the U.S. is doing with this blockade, we will have an oil crisis that we never seen before.
This is going to be like the 70s.
It'd probably be worse than the 70s. I mean, we probably see $200, $250 a barrel of oil. So I can see why Hannity talking about earlier with ships coming here. The problem is with ships coming here, number one, we charge more for oil. So
Well,
every
that's because West Texas oil costs more to get.
exactly
Now, it is better oil,
it's better, but
but
it's
it
more.
costs more to harvest.
Right. And you're not going to get a lot of countries, especially countries on the more the poorer spectrum, to travel all across the sea to pay for higher oil. That's just not going to work, in my opinion. So I think that strategy will not work. And then on top of the Strait of Moose, before the war, produced 140 to 150 barrels of oil per ship a day. So it was 140, 150 ships going through the Strait of Moose a day. So I don't think we're going to see traffic of 150 ships coming to the United States
Per day?
No.
No.
To try to close that gap that we're losing right now.
I don't think so.
And then on top of this blockade here can move the conflict from a regional conflict to a more global conflict with China. So I don't know if you noticed, China had a response to this, and they said that the U.S. need to get out and stop meddling in their affairs. Now, I don't know if you saw this today. China actually went through the Strait of Moose and stuck up a middle finger to the U.S.
That's what China is reporting.
Yeah.
And we're reporting that they turned around.
Oh, of course.
Who knows what's true?
Right. But
I don't trust the Chinese.
I don't trust the Chinese.
The American government.
And I don't trust the American government. But I will say that American government been lying a lot
Lately,
on this conflict.
Wait a minute. They've been getting caught more lately.
Well, caught more lately on this conflict. So it's a very high probability that China might have went through and just stuck a middle finger to the U.S. Blockade.
What are we going to do? If we sink a Chinese ship, it's fucking on.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. That's why I don't like this, because it can easily take a regional conflict and make it into a global conflict. Even the strategy that Trump is implementing, because Trump is saying that if a ship leaves the Strait of Hormuz from an Iranian port, the ship can be intercepted, it can be captured, and it can be diverted. Now, if a Chinese ship gets captured
Oh, it's World War.
it would produce World War III.
Oh, they're shutting down the South China Sea immediately.
Yes, it will.
They're immediately shutting down the South China Sea, and probably they're probably really moving up their plans on Taiwan.
Yeah, they're moving out their plans on Taiwan. They're going to shut down the South China Sea. And then also you have to think about if it's true that China is smuggling weapons and ammunition to Iran, if one of those ships are intercepted by an American boat and they find that type of material on
now
the ship,
we're going to attack China.
now it's on even more. So it just so easily for this blockade to have a little regional conflict between U.S., Israel, and Iran turn into a global conflict between China, Israel, Iran, and the U.S.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you think about it, you know, we can say, oh, they've thought all this, they've planned it out. When things are this fucking tight and sticky, and I'm sorry for cussing so much today, guys, I'm really am. But when things are this tight and sticky, you cannot account for all variables. You can't do it.
You can't. Yeah,
you can't. You don't know what's going to happen. You
can't.
don't know if somebody woke up in a bad damn mood.
Yeah, you know.
That's really all it takes.
And China is desperate with this situation because they get 12 to 13% of their oil from Iran. They get 50% of their oil from the entire Middle East. So they are very desperate about this issue of being able to get into
They will go to world war over that 50%.
They will go to the world war.
12% they will not.
Over the 12, over the 50 they will. Now, he's saying that he is allowing the boats to come from the other ports with inside the Middle East. So,
but if you look at the travel logs, it's still down. It's still down like
oh yeah,
80%, 90%.
Oh yeah, well, you know, it's been down 80-90% even before the blockade. That's why I thought the blockade was stupid, because you're gonna take it all the way almost to 100% with the second blockade on top of the first blockade. You know, and then you got to think China would be more desperate because he cut off their Venezuelan supply. So not only,
which was what, 5 to 6%, if I recall.
5 to 6%, I believe. But you also got to think Venezuela has about the second biggest oil reserve in the world.
Right.
So that's a huge oil reserve that China can't access anymore. So if they can't access Venezuela, and then they also can't access Iran as well, when Iran gives them a ton of oil, they're Iran's biggest buyer when it comes to oil. I mean, you're looking at China in a very desperate situation, and
desperate situations make people act desperate.
Yeah, it does. It makes people act really desperate.
And you know, the 12 to 13% from Iran, I think, would be negligible, because I do believe that China knew this was coming. I think that China has for years, if not decades, known that this was going to happen. And I think in the last 2 to 4 years, they've really seen the timeline was picking up. The clock was running out. And if we are left to believe that China did not renegotiate deals with other countries in the last 36 months when they knew this was going to happen, I mean, if you believe that, you're fucking stupid. So,
well, they definitely probably uptick their oil from Russia.
Yes, they 100% did increase their oil purchases from Russia.
Yeah.
So,
and who lifted the sanctions on that?
And who lifted the sanctions on that? Trump. Who released the oil from Iran last month to go there? Trump.
Yeah, he's helping Russia become stronger as well, which kind of counteracts the Ukrainian war, because he also ran on ending the Ukraine war. But if you're making Russia stronger, that is going to prolong the Ukrainian war even more.
Here's how Trump spells 4D chess. I'm just, guys, like, at some point we
well, this, in my opinion, this is not 4D chess. In my opinion, he went into this war.
He's flailing. He's drowning.
Yeah. In my opinion, he went into this war on bad information given by bad individuals, and he thought that he could take this over.
Which Rubio admitted.
Yeah, Rubio admitted. He thought he could take this over in 3 to 4 days, topple the leaders of Iran, the people rise up and take it over. That information was bad. That plan didn't come true. And ever since then, he just been throwing stuff on the wall, trying to get something to stick. That's all he's been doing.
I mean, we could say, oh, this is all part of a plan. Well, then I challenge anyone. Bring up the super chats. Make sure nobody's commented, by the way. I challenge anyone to tell me how this could be a cohesive plan. Mm-hmm. I challenge you to let me know how this could possibly be a cohesive plan. I would like you to piece it together for me, starting at where you just discussed. Mm-hmm. There is no cohesive plan. He's throwing things and seeing what happens.
Yeah, he's throwing things and trying to see what happens.
And
yeah,
to anyone that does not have blind loyalty, he looks like a fool.
Yeah, if you don't have blind loyalty and you actually can see through this, you can see that he does look like a fool in this situation.
And I don't want that. I don't want my president looking like a fool. I want him to look like gangsta, smart G, makes all the right moves, somehow slick willies through the wars, doesn't get in them, and makes a bunch of money. Like, I don't wish for the worst for our country or our president.
The problem is he just got too many snakes around him. He has a few people around him. There was talk that Susan Wiles, his staff, his chief of staff, they said that she talked against the war and tried to convince him to not do the war. But he just doesn't have enough people around him to give him good advice. He has a lot of snakes.
Or he's the snake.
You think he's a snake?
Well, I don't know, but I mean, aren't you the one who proposed the idea that maybe we're wrong?
I think
didn't you say that to me many years ago? Actually, that
what?
Trump could be a plant.
Oh wait, yeah, I did say that.
Did you say that to me years ago?
Yeah, but I think what it is with Trump is that, well, he's always kind of had this vision of going after Iran, even back to the 80s and 90s. The problem is there's no good
because he grew up grew up and had to watch the fucking Iran incident.
Right. But the problem is, just like every other president before him realized, there's no good way to take over Iran that doesn't cause calamity around the whole world. So that's why every president before him never decided to do that, because it's just too much. They would attack smaller countries like Afghanistan, Iraq, Syria, Lebanon. But going after Iran was just a death sentence. That's one thing you didn't do. And I think what's happened is the bad people around Trump has took his ambition of always wanting to go after Iran, and they have tricked him into going after Iran. And he took their bad advice because he always been a bit ambitious about doing that.
You don't think it's blackmail at all?
In my opinion, I don't think it's blackmail. I just think they set him up in a trap. They knew he was very ambitious about going after Iran, and they knew that if they provided false information but made it look very attractive, that he would take the bait and go into Iran. But the bad people probably, in my opinion, also knew that once you attack Iran, you're trapped in it.
You're trapped. You're in a forever war.
Right, exactly. And they knew that, but I don't think they did a good job of explaining that to him
on purpose,
so he could do that, and they did that on purpose. So now, even if he wanted to get out of Iran, it's very hard for him to find a way to get out of it, because he's put himself in a trap. Yeah.
And it just keeps going back, man. I don't mean to drop back to what we said earlier, but the things you're saying, these are the kind of things that we've been speaking on, and people are constantly saying to us, you guys follow Democrat plants. Who's talking in your ear to make you think these things? Who are you following to change your opinions? Maybe I'm a free thinker. I analyze things on my own, and I believe that I have to follow God's will. Like, maybe it's just those three things that make me think different than you. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. That's just the exact point you just made. I've heard that. Mm-hmm. Somebody those are Democrat talking points, and who are you listening to? Somebody said that to me the other day. Mm-hmm. Not listening to anyone. And
to add on to the point of Trump having snakes around him, Joe Kent that stepped down as his director, he even pointed to the fact that we'll produce American intelligence and we'll give it to the president and advise the president on things. But he said there's also a foreign intelligence, possibly foreign intelligence that can come from other nations like Israel. And for some reason, there's not a huge vetting process.
Nope.
So he was saying
there's basically none.
Right. And so he was saying
the
that
vetting process is contained within their intelligence agency.
Right, exactly. So he was saying that the Israeli intelligence agency can actually come directly to Trump sometimes and actually give him information that bypass American intelligence. And he was saying that a lot of times when American intelligence does intercept that information, a lot of times that information is false. So we have a lot of information that's getting to the president from other intelligence agencies that's actually false information that's just there to really control him and feed what he thinks. So that's why I think that if you take a person that's very ambitious to do something and do a certain goal, like take over Iran, and then you also infiltrate his mind with different agendas that's not true, that can convince him to do that without even really trying to blackmail him. You don't even have to blackmail him because he's so ambitious to do this, and then you give him all the ammo to do it.
I see.
He'll do it willingly.
I see.
Right.
Yeah, I see.
So I really think they set him up in a trap, and it's got to the point where he just can't find a way to get out of this trap. So that's why.
Is this the first time?
Every time you hear, every week, he's lying about something new.
Is this the first time in Trump's life, being president, is this the first time that he has been gamed, possibly? Do you know what I mean? He's been a business.
I'm pretty sure
he's been a monolith. He's been an absolute just powerhouse his whole life.
No, definitely powerhouse.
And now he steps into this world that is so much more dark and deceitful,
very deceitful,
manipulative, and treacherous.
I don't think there's nothing more deceitful than politics.
And you step into this world thinking, I've conquered all these demons, I've slayed all these dragons, and you come in thinking you're big boss hog, and then you step in and suddenly the political sphere is so dirty it eats you.
Yeah, it sucks you in. Yeah, it sucks you in. You try to do the right thing, but it sucks you in.
And I'm not convinced that Trump's always been a bad guy.
He's not.
I'm not convinced he's a bad man now. We all do really bad things, really stupid things. I don't do really bad things anymore, but I used to do a lot of really bad things, and I still do really stupid things. And maybe that picture that he posted was a really fucking stupid thing.
Yeah.
It was maybe. Stupid. It's hard to believe. Maybe, he's kind of a blockhead. We know he's not a real Christian. We know that.
No, he's not.
He's not a Christian.
He doesn't follow any religion.
No, he doesn't go to church on Sunday. He's not a Christian. He's not opening his Bible every night. Like, he's not a Christian.
He'll tell you that himself.
All right, he's not a Christian. So, when he posted that, maybe he didn't even recognize how serious it was.
But have we made...
Where are his advisors?
His advisors probably helping to post it and edit it. But at the same time, have we created that monster?
Yes, we created the monster.
Because time and time again, we on the conservative side saw Trump post outrageous things and didn't say anything.
We liked it. We loved it. We egged him on.
This is the same guy that ran in 2016 that picked on John McCain for getting captured in a war.
Well, time out.
You don't remember that?
John McCain was treated very differently than other prisoners of war in that same camp. And other POWs in that camp will attest that John McCain was treated much better.
In a better way? Mm-hmm. Oh, okay, in a better way. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So he deserved to get picked on for getting captured?
I don't think there's enough evidence. But I do. That is why Trump decided to do that. But,
okay.
I also understand what you're saying. Like that's just one of a million.
But my aspect on it is, previously as a president, you don't go after a veteran.
No,
you don't go after.
It's a bad look.
Yeah, it's a bad look.
Even if it's a bad look because especially if you don't have the proof of those things, it'd be different if you brought the paperwork, if you brought the witnesses, but you didn't.
Right, exactly.
So like you said, that's one of
that's just one thing.
That's one of a million.
Yeah, that's one of a million
One
things.
of a million, man. And maybe you're right. Maybe all the signs were there, and I was the cultist at first.
Yeah, sometimes we will slip and be cultists at first, and then we'll realize it, as time goes on. But sometimes we will fall into that trap ourselves.
And you know that I hate, and I know I brought a lot of people to Trump, and I don't know how I'm supposed to feel about that now.
Well, I think, like I say again, Trump has done a lot of stupid things this term. He's done some great things, but he has done a few stupid things as well. So I don't think you should beat yourself up about bringing people to Trump, because I might be wrong, but I believe that he still leads a better country than Kamala would have led.
I would agree. I would agree, because if this shit show popped up under her watch,
oh man,
you want to talk about mismanagement? That drunk fucking woman would be just screwing everything up.
we probably would have been bombed by
She'd
now.
be wasted at 11 p.m. at night in the wire. Bomb those motherfuckers! Drop a nuke on them! I got the codes!
The United States definitely probably would have had a bomb landing on the homeland by now.
And also, we would have had another 50,000 terrorists in the country because the borders would be wide open. So,
right, which would make this situation even worse, because then Iran could send even more sleeper cells over here with the border wide open.
what happened to all those sleeper cells anyway? I thought something might pop off, but it looks like we just had a couple little ones, and the FBI has been doing a pretty good job.
I think the FBI been doing a pretty good job with it. I also think that it probably was a little bit of a scare tactic at first to try to scare Americans into supporting the war.
Do you really think that maybe part of this indoctrination, this cultism that we fell to, at least partially, I would not call us that. We did not fall for the occultism, because once we saw the truth,
Yeah, we broke out of it.
we
broke out.
We were never a cultist. We were just supporters.
Yeah.
Until we had more information.
Yeah.
So, what was it? Where was I going with this?
You were saying, yeah, what was
Moving on.
But I think that we broke out of it, and we never were cultish at all. And I think that you shouldn't beat yourself up about bringing people to Trump, because I think he has done great things over the years, and he continue to do great things, but he does have a few areas that he does mess up on, like the picture, like this war. And unfortunately, I think that the people that surround him are complete snakes, and they are laying mines, they're laying traps for him. And like Tucker Carlson said when he talked to him, he was saying that, well, I can get out of everything, so everything will be all right. But the problem is, you can't always run on that you can get out of everything and everything will be all right. I know a bullet passed through by your head, and it was a centimeter away from your head, and you survived that. I know you beat 5 cases. You survived
5,000 over the course of your life.
Right. You survived that, but don't willingly let people lay traps for you that are around you just because you think you're invincible.
Yeah.
And that's where I think that I was talking about earlier with the God complex. I think now he just thinks that he's invincible and he can order and do anything, and it'll work out in the end, and he'll get through it. So
It's crazy how big of a supporter I was. And that brings me back. Guys, I still, I can't say this enough. I want him to be the greatest president ever.
And he had a potential
support
too.
him. I still support him.
Yeah, he had.
I still support him. But for me to not call out things I don't like, you guys, for those that know me who are watching, for you, I have a big ass mouth, and when I don't like something, I'm the first one to speak up. I've been punched in the face who knows how many times over it. I don't stand down. And why would I stand down now? And why would I not hold those I care about, those I want to succeed, those I want to see do good and be better people and bring about great change? Why would I not hold them to the absolute highest of standards? So I support the man. I want him to do great. I really do want him to do great, man.
Yeah, I want him to do great too. I just think that he's fell for a trap and it's going to be hard to get out of this trap.
Can we just have the first administration Trump? Can we just have the first term
Seems
back?
like I think a lot of his admin is good. Like I say, Susie Wiles, she was trying to convince him not to do this.
He's got a woman as his faith leader. That's a huge problem.
Oh, I think I did hear about that.
Yeah, that's a massive problem in of
think I
itself.
did hear about that.
Not me hating on women, but me being biblical. That is a massive problem. So it's well, and I guess she's not really a faith leader anyway. You know, she followed Trump around for 20 years.
For 20 years.
Living in 15 or 20 years, living in places that he owned and trying to put herself in front of him until she finally got there.
Oh, wow. She sounded like a plan.
She followed him around different areas of the country, put herself in front of him, moved into Trump Tower in New York City to try and expose herself to him, to try and get into his good graces. She followed the president. She followed Donald Trump around for 20 years trying to get involved.
That is strange.
So.
That is so strange.
And she's not a woman of high faith. I mean, maybe she is a woman of high faith, but if she's had massive amounts of scandal in her faith, in her churches.
She's had a lot of scandal.
And within her churches that she owns. So, but he's not a faithful man, so why would it matter?
Yeah, it wouldn't really matter for him in that aspect anyways. My thing is, I just wish that he would surround himself with people that are just more, I don't know, more righteous, more not as snaky, not as deceitful, people that are not yes men, say yes to everything you want to do, but give you some pushback, give you some great insight, give you some great advice.
I don't mean to stare at him, guys, but he's got his first white beard hair.
You got white beard hair. Oh my god.
Got your first
one? Right here?
Yeah.
I've had it for years.
Oh.
Yeah, I had that.
What a good friend I am. I never even noticed his white mustache hair.
I had that since like 28 or something.
Have you?
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, the top right here in the corner.
Yeah, just one single one.
Yeah.
That's wild. I thought it was new.
Oh
man, he's catching up to me. There goes my excitement. There goes my excitement.
Oh man. But yeah, all in all, I think Trump just need a better circle around him, and I wish he would create a better circle around him, because I think that would allow him to have a better presidency. You know.
What do you foresee happening? After the elections.
The midterms? Mm-hmm. Well, I see a bloodbath coming in the midterms, in my opinion, because with this blockade and gas prices going up.
Gas prices is all that matters.
Because it's one thing, Americans will be blind to a lot of things and they will overlook a lot of things. But when you hit an American pocket, that's when they wake up, and that is when an American wakes up and start voting differently. So I think that it will definitely be a bloodbath coming in midterms.
Do you think those prices are enough to break the occult-like following?
Let's see. I think
Or do you think those that are deeply invested in the movement are going to stay?
I think what's going to break the occult-like following is pretty much the Democrats rising in power again. Because when the Democrats rise in power again, I think that the following will look towards a new leader to lead them against the Democrats.
Do we have anyone?
Unfortunately, our bench is weak, and we don't have many.
Our bench isn't as weak as theirs.
It's not as weak as theirs, but it's still weak.
Bench.
Because we got Marco Rubio. I'm not too fond of him being the next president.
No, he's
because I
didn't vote for him in primaries once before for good reason.
Yeah, man, he's a typical career politician.
He's a rhino.
Yeah, he's a rhino, war hawk. He loves war, especially war in the Middle East. So if anybody's going to continue the Iranian war, he definitely would continue the Iranian war.
What do you think about Vance? Do you think he would continue it?
Vance.
I honestly believe that, okay, so, the media has, the media and on X, you see these people dropping things like, Vance is trying to distance himself from the Iranian war. Have you seen these articles?
I have seen that, and okay. I have seen that he's trying a little bit.
And then they send him to be the negotiator of peace.
Yeah.
I think it's all a ploy.
You think it's all a ploy?
Oh, I think it's all an act.
So you think he was acting when he went to go be the negotiator of peace?
No, I'm just saying that even if he was president right now, we'd be at war with Iran.
Oh yeah, I think so. But I think that he's trying to distance himself from the Iran war. Just for elections.
Not based on his own belief.
No.
Just for elections.
Just for elections. I believe that if he was to get elected, he would do pretty much the same trajectory that Trump is doing right now with Iran. I don't think it'd be any different, but I think that he's trying to play like it'll be different and play like he's the peacemaker in order to try to win the election in 2028. So yeah, I do think he's acting. I definitely do think he's acting. For sure.
Damn.
Yeah. So like I say, our
It's a
bench.
sad state. The bench is not doing good.
Yeah, our bench is pretty weak. We need somebody new to rise up from the shadows, really, and take this movement to the next level.
I'm starting to see more and more. I'm not going to call them groypers per se, but people with similar views to the groypers, which the groypers, guys, for those of you who don't know, are a group who are closely affiliated with Nick Fuentes. They're ultra right. I mean, they are as far conservative as you can be. They believe in Christian nationalism. They believe in protecting white culture. They have all these beliefs. So you're seeing these people pop up, and they're starting to gain a lot of popularity. And there's also people who are like loosely affiliated with them starting to gain popularity. Dan Bilzerian's about to run for office.
I saw that. I was happy to see that because he's a good candidate. He would be a really good candidate.
Yeah, he's a goober.
He's
a goober, but he'd be a good candidate.
But if you ever saw one of his interviews, he's really intelligent when it comes to politics and world affairs.
Yeah, and I only call him a goober because of the Las Vegas incident.
Oh, like
Well, give me your gun. I'm going to rescue some people. Yeah.
but he's a extremely intelligent guy, though.
He is intelligent.
Yeah, definitely.
That's why he was so good at poker, to be honest.
Yeah, you have to be smart to
He's an
be good at
intelligent
poker.
individual. We got, James Fishback, who's...
I like him.
He's... I don't think he's called himself a groyper, but he associates with a few of them, has similar views. We have a lot of these people popping up, and I believe that is the future of the Republican Party. And maybe if it's not the future of the Republican Party, maybe it's when we finally see a party split and we start to have multiple parties. Because I see a fragmentation coming with the Democrat Party.
Yeah, I do. I think I do see a fragmentation coming with the Democrat Party. Definitely.
I think it'll be a huge sign for the country. It'll be very telling. Not a huge sign, but it'll be very telling that the Democrat Party splits and the Republican Party does not for a while, or the Republican Party splits and the Democrat Party does not for a while, because the time in between the split of the one and the split of the second is going to get crazy.
Yeah, that's going to be really crazy. So you think the Democrat Party going to split first?
I don't know. It's hard to. I mean, I think they're already splitting.
I think the Republican Party, in my opinion, is splitting faster because of things like this war. I think it's really fracturing us a little bit faster than the Democratic Party.
And part of that being because Republicans and those on the rights typically stand with more conviction. And by what I mean by that is whatever they believe, they stick with it. Whereas you see the Democrat Party go from here to here to here.
Yeah, they waver.
No gay marriage, yes gay marriage. No chicks with dicks, yes chicks with dicks. Put them in the bathrooms, take them out, put them in. You just their evolutionary period is very quick.
It's very quick, very fluid.
Right.
It evolves really fast.
And I think that's driven the party to such an extreme level that a lot of people don't associate with it anymore.
Yeah.
But I don't think those people are coming to the Republican Party. I think they're just not voting anymore.
I think they just refraining from voting. Yeah, they're not coming into the Republican Party.
Nope.
Not at all. No.
I don't think so.
No, but I do see us fracturing a little bit faster.
It's coming quick.
With situations like this war. This is why I'm so upset about this war, because we really had a strong base. We really had a strong movement, and it's just causing a fracturing to occur that's kind of really unnecessary.
But specifically, what is causing that?
What's causing the fracture to occur?
Our leaders not doing what they said they were going to do when we were electing them.
Yeah, definitely.
That's the only thing. So all these people who were like, Nick Fuentes and Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson are plants and they're ruining the Republican Party. No, the only fucking person ruining the Republican Party are the people we voted for aren't doing what the hell they said. Like, get with it. Like,
no, they're not ruining it.
Candace Owens a moron. Yes.
Yeah,
she's a complete fucking idiot.
You hate Candace Owens.
Oh, I don't hate her, but man, she's a dumb woman. She is just your typical stupid woman. Your typical stupid, loud black woman who just wants to yell and everybody listen to me. And I had to say it's so important, but I don't know shit. Yeah. And then Tucker Carlson's the type of guy that I like Tucker. He does great interviews.
Yeah.
But he is the type of dude who will he'll speak about things that when he's interviewing people or things that he's bringing to the table as if they're fact because he gets ahead of himself. You know what I'm saying? He'll get ahead of himself and speak as their fact. And then I guess my problem with Fuentes is I don't have any fucking problems with Nick Fuentes.
Hey, you don't have no problem with Nick Fuentes.
Oh, now I'm really everybody's gonna hate me.
My only problem with Nick Fuentes is sometimes he wavers a little bit too. Just like that one thing you were talking about when he was getting on Trump.
Yeah.
And it's like you can't play both sides. What was that thing you were talking about?
Okay, so you're right. That is the one thing about Fuentes I don't like. So he was up Trump's tail about going to war with Iran.
Right, that's
and
what it
then
was.
when Trump stops the war, he calls him a pussy.
Right, you can't play both sides.
Now, well, on second thought, think about it this way.
Okay.
You can disagree with the war. Okay, I don't like you being a jerk and going out and fighting people at the bar every weekend.
Mm-hmm.
But the second a bigger dude steps up to you and you say no, I probably call you a pussy. So maybe that's okay. But my biggest problem with him is he's not palpable. My mother can't watch Nick Fuentes and have her mind changed.
Yeah, no. Definitely not.
My dad might be all right with him, but my mother couldn't. My mother would, oh my goodness, she would hate Nick Fuentes.
Yeah, your mom went like
She's
Nick
become
Fuentes.
more liberal over the years, but yeah, it's tough.
Well, to be honest with you, a lot of people really couldn't stomach Nick Fuentes. Really, it takes a certain type of person to be able to listen to Nick Fuentes.
Right, and I would say, especially from someone who is of color, it takes a very special type of person of color to watch Nick Fuentes.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, a black person. Yeah, it takes
because it takes you understanding politics.
Yeah,
it takes you understanding history. It takes you having a great sense of humor.
Yeah, definitely a great sense of humor.
Because almost everything he does is humor based.
Yes, it's humor based.
Yeah, he brings you the topics, he gives you his opinion, but everything he does is so interlaced with actually highly intense and intelligent levels of humor, like where it's just multifaceted and layered so deeply. It's not for everybody, and it's not palpable to the average individual. I think I would say you need an above average IQ to find him palpable.
Yeah, you do, because if you don't, you're gonna be offended
You're gonna be offended
for everything he says,
or you're gonna think he's a Democrat plant, or all these weird things. And I'm not saying that everyone who I was about to say, I don't think everyone who truly believes he's a Democrat plant is unintelligent. But, And there's only one individual that I'm thinking about that's that as I consider this person, I'm trying not to say that. You know what I mean? There's only one person who says that I know that I don't consider stupid. But I guess you can be stupid in certain things. Yeah, you can. You definitely can. You can be stupid in specific.
But it does take a certain type of person to look at Nick Fuentes and not be offended.
Yeah.
Do
you think that type is what's going to... Do you think this extremist... Well, I don't view them as extremists, but this mainstream would consider them extremists. Do you think that's the future of the Republican Party?
I do. I definitely think it's the future of the Republican base, because a lot of young Republicans do lean towards that way, because Nick Fuentes has a huge young Republican audience.
Absolutely.
The problem is infiltrating the higher ups, infiltrating the political arena and the political establishment, because a lot of them are still holding on to that old Republican way. That's why.
Which is why he's pushing his followers to run for office so hard.
Yeah, if he's gonna...
You hear what he does when he does it? He pushes his followers to run for office, and then he encourages them to never mention that they're groypers. You do not tell them until you're in office.
Yeah. Yeah, shoot, I would even be skeptical about telling them when you're in office.
Yeah, because then
Yeah, that or some type of blackmail or something of that nature. I mean, I would say the worst part about being a politician is when you get in office. You know, that's really when the heat come after you.
you know if things really swing right. I mean, if not even right, if things continue to. I don't even know what to call anymore. Right, left, Democrat, Republican. None of it even makes sense. None of it's really even articulable at this point.
Yeah, it's not.
But I guess what we would traditionally refer to as right-wing extremism, or that's what the mainstream media would refer to. Nick Fuentes is going to be a fucking problem because the kid has no dirt. There's no dirt on Nick Fuentes. The worst thing about Nick Fuentes is that he played Heil Hitler at the club in Miami, and it was, as always, funny.
Yeah. Yeah,
and the reaction across the world was hilarious.
Right. Yeah, he has very little dirt. I can't really think of anything.
The dude's a virgin.
Yeah, that too.
By choice, because you know he's got girls in the DMs all the time. He's a good-looking dude.
Yeah, he's popping.
Got money.
Yeah, he got money.
He speaks well. He's got some swag. He's suave. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like if you're a woman below 5'5", he's a great-looking dude.
Yeah. Yeah. 5'5".
My girlfriend, I just told her my girlfriend. My wife, she thinks that's America's sweetheart.
Dave Fuentes?
Yeah, she likes him. I mean, she's not like gung ho about everything he says, but she likes him.
Yeah, he slips up from time to time, but he's pretty on point most of the time.
And I'd honestly say his best quality is his ability to predict geopolitical events. You know, to predict worldwide events, to predict almost damn anything. The kid's record, he's almost the Rush Limbaugh of predictions, the modern Rush Limbaugh. You know, Rush's predictions on his radio show over the years were something like 99. So he was the most honest and accurate radio person ever.
Wow.
Or media in person ever. Like they've run through all the steps, over 99% accuracy, and I feel like that's kind of where Fuentes is headed. But he just analyzes things that are much more controversial.
Yeah, and say them in a much different way than Rush Limbaugh too.
Yeah, he might call you an N and then tell you about it.
Yeah. Dave Fuentes, he's pretty hot. He says what he wants to. He doesn't let anybody control his speech.
What do you think about that?
With him saying that?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't say it because I feel like as black people, I don't know, we should carry ourselves in a certain way and certain things we shouldn't say. Now, if I hear somebody say it, I don't really get mad and uptight about it. You know, it is what it is. It's just a word. You can't really offend me from a word. You know what I mean? But me, myself, personally, I try not to use it in my everyday vocabulary.
That's one of the things that I have highly respected you about since the day we became friends.
Oh, really?
Absolutely. That's been one of the things I've held you at very high esteem for, because you are a great representative of your people. You always are careful to not make. I don't know why you do it. I don't know why you say. Well, I know you just told me, so I do know why. But you have done a very good job at representing your people in a very good way.
Yeah, I try to.
Yeah, I think it's very admirable.
Yeah, because we already got a lot of stigmas against us in the first place, anyways.
Why make them true?
So I feed into them even more.
Yeah, why reinforce the opinions?
Right. And how can I? And then it's also another thing. Is like, how can I ever tell somebody else not to say it if I'm saying it?
Yeah.
You know, it just doesn't really make sense. It kind of seems hypocritical.
And I guess as a white guy, like, you know, when I hear white people say it, whoever says it, it's not the same. Because most people I've heard say it, most people I hear say it, most people that I know who say it, it's not from a place of hate. It's not from a place of animosity. Mm-mm. But also, you aren't making your own people look bad.
Yeah, you're not making your own people look bad.
It's not a hyper display of low intelligence.
Yeah, it's not.
You know what I mean? It can almost be for white people. It's almost a fun word to say.
Yeah,
it's like fun funny. We weren't allowed to do it. And now we're doing it.
Right.
Woo!
Right.
You know what I mean? So
But you're not making your own people look bad.
right. And,
Yeah.
you know, I think that's very important to consider. And I think that's very important for black people to consider. Like, whether it be musicians, whether it be people in the street, whatever, like, you guys have to fix your community. We can't do it for you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, we definitely have to fix on a community.
Like, we can't, nobody can do it for you.
No, and that's the role of every race, to be able to fix their own community.
Absolutely. Which
Yeah.
is why I'm taking like white pride so serious now. Like why I'm taking white history and white culture so serious now. For the first time in my life, I never realized how important it was. I mean, I realized how important, you know, Greek and Roman and whatever, you know, I realized all that, but like I never realized how important it was to protect my own. But it is. And there's nothing wrong with it. And,
No.
and people have always made us feel like there was something wrong with it. And now as I've aged, and I don't know if it's that obviously the world's changing and it's more accepted now, but also like I'm 40 years old in a few months. I just don't give a shit anymore.
Yeah, you guys don't care anymore.
I just don't care what anyone thinks anymore. So
But I was just talking to somebody about that, the preservation of the white race, because the white race is really in really dire straits right now, because you got a really low birth rate. You know, I mean, in 35 years, the white race will almost be non-existent in this country if we keep up the immigration policies that we have. You know, if
it's on purpose.
Yeah, it's on purpose.
They're trying to get rid of us.
And that's why I think it does take a really strong person within the white race to really see what's going on and really fix some of those things, like the birth rate, and I know feminism has also ruined a lot of things within the white community as well too, because you have women going off to college that rather pursue a career for 15, 20 years. Mm-hmm. And then have a child at 40
when they can't have children anymore.
Right. And it just doesn't work like that. Nature wasn't really set up like that. So I really hope that for your race, definitely that more white people starting to wake up and realize what's being done to them.
Yeah. And according to the numbers, we're actually facing the same plight.
Yeah, I remember you said black race was actually facing the same plight as well. Because feminism had also branched over into black women as well.
Movement too. So it's
pro-abortion
not only
as well.
Has it gone to the black women, but it's also in the like we've discussed Margaret Sanger and the abortion movement before. And if things continue down this path, your race and my race are at 50% of their current levels in the next couple decades, and that's not acceptable because at the end of the day, I don't mean to be self-centered. But white culture has brought us the best countries of the world.
Yeah, I was telling somebody that the other day.
Like, it's brought us the Magna Carta, the Declaration of Independence. It's brought us all these ideas. Actually, even more significant, it brought the idea that rights aren't granted to you by man, but by God.
Yeah, that was unforeseen.
That may be the biggest contribution of white culture in history.
Yeah, because that was never seen before.
Right.
Yeah.
So we're in a fight, man, and
yeah, it's a huge fight,
and no one wants to look at it like that, and they're causing this split between us. We're not allowed to be pro white culture. You guys are like, you know what I mean? And then blacks are so bad, and
you know what started that? Not you're not allowed to be pro white culture. You know when that started?
When
that started around that World War II era with the Nazis and everything like that. Because it
was a product of Zionism.
Yeah, because when the Nazis came on scene and they ran on more white supremacy,
right?
Then they started looking at white people as you can't be proud to be white, because if you are proud to be white, it creates something like a Hitler. But that's not true. You can be proud to be white, and it doesn't create something like a Hitler.
Pride is a good thing to have, because if you have pride in who you are, where you came from, what you did, you'll want to continue to push the limits of greatness with those things. And as white culture and white greatness increases, the quality of the entire world is increased.
Yeah.
Like whether it be Africa or Asia or South America or, the quality of the entire world, as our pride has increased and as we've pushed forth our colonialism and our endeavors across the world, it's increased the quality of the entire world.
It has. It
It
has.
really has, and
Yeah.
it's created a lot of beautiful things. And we need to protect it. But also at the same time, the only way we're going to be able to protect it is by people like you and me opening the eyes to all the other blacks and whites and being like, listen, they're after both of us.
Yeah, they are.
They're after want to destroy us because this is our country. This is the black and white country. You know, maybe it's predominantly white and maybe it's predominantly Christian, and maybe, but you know, you guys have been here almost as long as we had. You know, so it's your country too. And if they can just keep us hating one another and not being able to say, yeah, white pride's great, me not being able to say, yeah, black pride's great, because at the end of the day, white pride and black pride just means, oh, we're looking at now we're not looking at the bad things we've done. We're looking at the great things we've done, the accomplishments we've done. And we're looking toward a future where we can have more of those accomplishments and more of that greatness and continue to help the world and discover and invent and create. And as long as we hate each other and you can't be proud of being black and I can't be proud of being white, that doesn't happen.
No, that doesn't happen. We got to keep the culture the same in order for that to happen.
Yep.
Yeah, we can't have it tainted.
No culture for blacks and no culture for whites. So what are we?
Right, exactly.
Well, then we're all just Mexicans.
That's true.
You got anything else to talk about?
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's get some more.
Yeah, I got,
I'm over here talking too much.
I want to talk about why the U.S. negotiations fell with Iran.
Oh, yeah.
So I got this interesting article pulled up here. Let me switch it to 2. All right. Should be on here.
Oh, you just be searching your ass off.
Oh, yeah. I be searching all day. Okay, here we go. So these are the reasons why, well, the main reasons why the talks failed with the negotiations that took place over the weekend. So it says Iran's nuclear program, the biggest issue. The U.S. demanded a firm, long-term, verifiable commitment that Iran would not develop nuclear weapons, and not even the tools or infrastructure to quickly build one, including ending uranium enrichment, dismantling key facilities, damaged in prior strikes, and handing over or removing its stockpile of highly enriched uranium, around 400 and 900 pounds, near weapons grade material. Now, that demand by the U.S. was met with a refusal by Iran because Iran refused, calling the demands excessive, unreasonable, and a violation of its sovereignty. Tehran insists that its program is for peaceful nuclear power only, and has repeatedly said it will not give up enrichment entirely. So as you guys may know, the United States for a long time has tried to stop Iran from building a nuclear weapon. And Iran points to the fact time and time again that they have the sovereignty, which they kind of do, to be able to enrich and possibly have a nuclear weapon, because they look at their neighbors like Israel that has a
Pakistan, India.
Well, not that, but not only that, they look at their neighbors as Israel that has an illegal nuclear program, that don't even want to admit that they have a nuclear program, so they can continue to get aid from us. And then on top of that, Israel stole a lot of the uranium from the United States back during the John F. Kennedy era. So Iran looks at it and is like, well, and
if you guys don't know about that, go do a deep dive. We're not just over here hating the juice box all the time.
Oh, no.
It's facts.
And so Iran looks at that and is like, well, why don't we have sovereignty to create our own nuclear weapons, or at least be able to nuclear enrich if we got a country that pretty much illegally doesn't even announce that they have nuclear weapons in the first place. And then on top of this, when it comes to the U.S. demanding that they give up their nuclear enrichment and their nuclear program, this is where I think Trump made the biggest mistake in his whole political career. And this actually happened during the first term. Now, many conservatives over the years argued that Obama installing the JCPOA, which was the Iran nuclear deal, they argued that it was a bad deal because Iran was not following the deal, and they were not adhering to the instructions that were given to them, meaning that they were still enriching at high levels, even though the JCPOA stated that they only could enrich at a certain amount of levels. Now, the problem with the conservatives' argument for this is the JCPOA was governed by the IAEA, which is an international organization that monitors the uranium enrichment around the world of countries. Mm-hmm. So
they're the ones that used to do the inspections of all the different countries, right?
So the IAEA went into Iran right after they signed the JCPOA with Obama. And for, I would say, about a period of 2 to 3 years, they stated all the way up until about 2019, I think it was 2019, that Iran was actually following the JCPOA and they weren't enriching at high levels. Now, when Trump came in office in his first term, he ripped that agreement up. He said Obama made a mistake with that agreement. But as soon as he ripped that agreement up, not too long after that, Iran was starting to enrich at high levels.
Because they needed new protections. Because they lost their only protection. Exactly.
Because that JCPOA gave them relief of sanctions. But when Trump ripped up the JCPOA, he installed the sanctions back on them. So if you install the sanctions...
Why did he do that? Do you remember? Because it was a bullshit. Because he thought it was...
He only did it because a lot of conservative pundits argued that they were not adhering to the inspections, which seems to be false because the leading organizations that inspect them, the IAEA, said they were following them. And then if conservatives want to say that the IAEA was lying for Iran, it wouldn't make sense because after Trump ripped up the agreement, the IAEA, they are the ones that produced the result that they weren't following after he ripped it up. So obviously they're not scared to say.
They're not scared to say.
Right, they're not following
really?
it. Right, and a lot of people don't know this. So
did that all happen while we were still in the cult?
Yes. But the reason why we never thought about it, because a lot of conservative podcasts that we were watching was saying that Obama made a mistake, and
I thought he did.
They weren't actually following the agreement, but they were actually following the agreement all the way up until Trump ripped up the agreement.
And, and man, remember how often me and you were pissed off about that money he gave them?
Which was actually their frozen assets. It wasn't us.
And now Trump gave them 4 times more.
And I didn't really care for the Obama presidency that much, but it would make sense that he's giving them their frozen assets if he is relieving sanctions.
It's a deal. You're making a deal.
Right.
You agree to this, we'll release your money we've been holding, and we'll lift sanctions.
Right, exactly.
But you have to let these people come around and look at the shit.
And he did. And the people that came around, the IAEA, said that they were following instructions and they weren't enriching.
Now, were they granted access to every facility or no? Do you know?
I would have to look more into it if they were granted access to every facility.
Or were there certain facilities that were off limits? Or
I would have to check into that.
Oh, yeah, you can come in 3 weeks.
Yeah. That's a good question right there.
Sure. I don't know.
But the thing about it is they have to. It seems like they have to be accurate
because they caught them 3 years later.
Because they caught them enriching at high levels. 3 years later.
So they were
after
checking.
After the agreement was ripped up. So but that's a good question. I will check into that to see if they were trying to block them from certain facilities. But to me, it doesn't seem like the IAEA is scared to say that they are enriching at high levels because their opinions change. It never was a consistent opinion.
Right.
So I think that was the biggest mistake of Trump's presidency when he ripped that deal up, because now it set the stage for a war with Iran, because if you can't negotiate with Iran and create some type of a peace deal, and you rip the peace deal up, the only thing left really is war. So I think that was the downfall of everything. And that happened during his first presidency. He did that during his first presidency.
Yeah.
And that's really what set the stage to what's happening.
I was amped about it. I thought it was a great idea.
Yeah.
And now I realize that I didn't really know everything about it. So
you thought it was a great idea because all the pundits you were watching, all the conservative pundits, that's what they were saying. It was a bad idea.
Yeah. Now versus then, it is so much easier to locate real information now.
Yeah, it's a lot easier.
It's easier to locate it. It's easier to verify it. It's easier to double, triple, quadruple check it.
Yeah, it's so much easier.
It wasn't that easy 8 years ago.
No, it wasn't that easy at all.
It really wasn't, man. So you had to trust the people that you trusted.
Yeah, you did.
And you could try to go do some research, but if you wanted to really do it, you'd be doing FOIA requests and this, that, and the other, and like having to sue people to get the information. Like, who am I going to sue to get some information for? Like, what do you?
Right. So, but I just thought that was very interesting. But guys, that's the first negotiation that fell through was the nuclear program. Now, the second thing that fell through here is the control and access to the Strait of Hormuz. Now, the U.S. insisted on full freedom of navigation, no Iranian control, no tolls, and guaranteed open passage for all shipping, especially after Iran had effectively restricted or threatened the strait. Iran wanted to maintain its control over the strait, which is considered a sovereign right, and resisted U.S. demands to fully reopen it without condition. This directly ties into the current U.S. naval actions targeting Iranian ports. So the way I feel about this is the reason why Iran even thinks in the first place that they can control the Strait of Hormuz is because we open up this can of worms. Iran never even thought about even controlling the Strait of Hormuz.
Because it's not considered international waters, but it is considered an international passageway.
Right.
But the water is in control of Oman and Iran, and they overlap because I believe the strait is 20 or so miles at the skinniest point. And and therefore the water, the territories of both would overlap.
And a good thing you brought up, Oman, because Iran is not even being selfish with the tolls, because Iran is saying that if they were to get tolls from this, they would give some proceeds to Oman. So they would share the proceeds from the tolls.
They're trying to make allies.
So they're really trying to make allies.
Not a bad idea.
No, it's not a bad idea, actually. And I mean, and in the end of the day.
But also, you start pairing Iran up with some allies who have a little more of a stable mind, and maybe they just start acting right. Maybe they're like, damn, that country makes a bunch of money. Maybe we just better fucking cut it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
that's true.
Maybe not, but maybe.
Well, you also have to remember that Iran actually used to be more of a Western country, because back before we overthrew their president, their duly elected president,
with the apple juice.
Yeah, when we overthrew their duly elected president, before that, he had a country looking very much like the West. There were women that would go around in bikinis in Iran.
They had theme parks. They had
theme parks, everything. It looked exactly like a Western country, but just in the Middle East. But once we went in there and he tried to nationalize his oil, which I don't know why he tried to do that, because he know people are gonna come for him if he tried to do that. He tried to nationalize his oil. Then Britain, the MI6, they got mad. Israel, the Mossad got mad. The CIA from the United States got mad, and then they went in there and they overthrew him
because they wanted to control their own country.
Right, because those three countries wanted control of Iranian oil. They wanted to become rich off Iranian oil.
Right, so destabilize the strong popular government.
Exactly.
And it's easier to take the weaker one.
Exactly. And so when they destabilized Iran and they installed the Shah signed over much of Iranian oil rights to those three countries, the U.S., Israel, and Britain. So we essentially became rich off of them when we overthrew their country. And then when we overthrew their country, we destabilized their population and we sent them into chaos. So then that's when
the radicals arose.
Right, that's when the radicals arose. And remember in the 1970s,
just like Iraq, just like Afghanistan.
Yeah. And that's what brought the Iranian Revolution in the 1970s.
Just like Libya, just like Syria.
Yeah, Libya. And that's what brought the Iranian Revolution in the 1970s.
That's what we do. We disturb healthy countries to gain power.
Yeah, to gain power and influence.
Guys, that's what we do. We ruin hundreds of millions of lives to disturb places to gain power. Now, I'm all for us gaining power. I just don't want to see millions of people die to do it.
But the problem is when we destabilize these countries and we send them into chaos, we come back 30, 40 years later and we get on how these people live and how they're very radical, but we cause them to be like that. So we're creating a problem in order to come back 30 or 40 years later to try to solve the problem. Yeah. So it doesn't make any type of sense. So like your friend, you were talking about like your friend and how they were thinking that the Iranian people have some type of oppression when it comes to their government. Much of that oppression stems from what we did to them back in the 1950s.
It's just the same rodeo with every country.
Yeah.
Like, we just play that fucking record on repeat.
Yeah. But, you know, and the CIA has done many, you know, takeovers of countries, and they do it in order for us to... It's very sad when you think about it, but they do it in order for us to have rich, comfortable lives. And it's kind of sad that if you really think about it, much of America, because capitalism is great. It did produce a very good America and produce a lot of wealth in America. But you can't overlook the fact that a lot of countries that have been overthrown to grab up their resources and suck up their resources has also produced the America that is so strong.
Yeah.
So there's
been a lot of failures for capitalism to be such a great success.
Yeah. So we have it's very sad, but it's almost like the survival of the fittest principle.
Which, believe me, I want my chicken Sammy. So
yeah, it's sad when you think about it. It's like the survival of the fittest principle,
but also it's worth considering. We're the most rich country in the world when it comes to resources as well. We're the only country in the world that can be completely self-sustaining from coast to coast.
Yes, that's definitely true.
That's the biggest reason we're rich.
Well, yes, but then you also got to think about the petrodollar.
Yeah,
and so you also got to think about, in order for us to have that global dominance with the petrodollar, we have to force countries to use our currency. And the best way to force them is to take them over.
Which could also be a hell of a reason to shut down the strait completely, because didn't Saudi Arabia leave the petrodollar?
I can't remember if Saudi Arabia or not. I would have to look that up.
I believe so.
I know Iran is more geared towards BRICS.
Yep.
And that's really a big reason why this war might be taking place as well. But yeah, look at that. But what does it say?
1 second here. I got fat fingered. They did not renew their 50-year security for oil agreement that expired on June 9th, 2024, which has opened the door for the kingdom to accept other currencies for oil, challenging the U.S. dollar's absolute dominance. They no longer have an agreement to only use the petrodollar as of last year.
And with this war, they probably won't use the petrodollar.
Hell no. Why would they?
And see, that's the thing.
Especially not when it's all our fault that they're not making no damn money right now.
Right. And that's the thing is...
And this is how you form alliances.
Yeah, that is how you form alliances. But the problem is with Western American dominance, you're right, we do have a lot of resources to be self-sufficient, but we don't have enough resources to be a global superpower. Because to be a global superpower, you got to have multiple countries, I would say up into the hundreds, on your currency.
You got to have colonialism.
Yeah, because you got to think the only reason why we can run up the debt is because we have...
Because what are they going to do? Make us bankrupt? Right. They can't, because then they're bankrupt.
Right, because they run off our currency. So we have the number one currency in the world, but we only have the number one currency in the world, not because countries always just want to work with us and use our currency, but because we overthrow them and force them to use our currency. So a lot of our wealth has not only come from capitalism, it has also come from revolution and taking over other countries. But the sad part about it is when we take over each other countries, we throw them into destabilization and we turn them radical.
Yeah, so, and it's not like we did before. We're doing it different now than we did 100 years ago. 100 years ago, we came in, we colonialized a place, we built it up, we put up big, beautiful buildings, we put in senators, we put in governors, we put in farms and equipment and water supply and this, that, and the other. Mm-hmm. And now that's not what we do.
Yeah, we just
That's not what we do anymore.
no.
I mean, look how we left Iran. Look how we left Afghanistan. Look how we left Libya. Look how we left Cambodia. Look how we've left every place in the last 50 years.
Yeah,
Look how we left Korea. Look how we left Vietnam. Look how we left. That's not what we do anymore.
no, we don't do that
We
anymore.
used to take over, set up shop, and make the place better.
Yeah, now we just destabilize
Now,
and
did
make
we
it worse.
extract wealth from their working class as we did? Yeah, but guess what? Their working class didn't have available food and water before we showed up.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So we still did them a favor.
Yeah, but now, like you say, yeah, you're right. The last 50, 60 years, now when we take over, it's just a complete destabilization of the country.
And nothing changes.
Yeah, nothing. So if anything, it becomes worse
Yeah.
than before we got there. Yeah. So in one way, you could kind of look at it and think, how does God look at that? How does God look at American people that benefit off of other people's suffering? You ever thought about that?
That burger tastes good. Too good to think about that.
You ever thought about that?
No, I haven't thought about
How
it.
does God think about, Americans benefiting off of the suffering of others?
Well, I would never do that in my own life. But what about in business? I've taken people's businesses before.
Yeah, you did tell me stories about that.
I've taken over people's businesses, like hard takeovers, and controlled their business, and then it was mine.
Yeah, I remember you did tell me a lot of stories.
But
about
also,
that.
he was a piece of crap. Like, yeah.
Yeah, that's a really
That's a really interesting thing to think about.
yeah, something I have to think about more.
Does business world excuse that kind of thing? Maybe not.
But the thing about business world, I feel like I don't know. I feel like it's a little different because, like, if I go back to the destabilization of Iran back in the 1950s, you got to think about what that destabilization is doing to those millions of people.
Yeah.
Like, you might take over a business and then
he's got to go get a 9 to 5.
then you got to go get a 9 to 5 or something like that.
he's
I mean,
still-
he lives in America. There are 9 to 5s everywhere.
Yeah.
But you destabilize a whole country of millions of people. I mean, you got starvation. You got kids dying. I mean,
You're radicals slaughtering people.
Yeah, you causing the radicals to rise up that possibly might slaughter the people. I mean,
I never considered it.
you taking out a duly, like, think about it. I was talking to someone the other day. Think about it. Think about, we have Trump right now and our adversary China. Think about China coming into America, overthrowing Trump, installing a Chinese leader over Americans. How would you feel about that? Like, think about it from like that.
We're so blessed to not have to worry about it.
Like, think about that. Like, how
Wow.
exactly?
We're so blessed that we don't even ever have to consider that.
Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
But think about how you would feel about the Chinese people.
Oh, I'd want to kill him.
Right. So that's why I was explaining to this person the other day that it's not just Iran chant death to America because they hate Americans. It's they know the history of what Americans have done to America. I mean, to Iran. Because if that was the reverse and we had a country like China do that to us, we'd probably be chanting death to them.
For the next 1,000 years.
Yeah.
For 1,000 years.
Yeah. I mean, I would even, like, I didn't like Biden, but I would even be mad if Biden got taken out by a Chinese.
Oh, I'd be mad as hell. I'd be mad. It's still my president.
It's still like our president is still our sovereignty. Like, I still would be mad that you took out one of our leaders that we elected.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that makes sense.
So I don't know. It's something that you can.
Because at the end of the day, you might be my shitty brother, but you're still my brother.
Right. Exactly.
You know.
And the Chinese way is nothing like the American way. So the way they're gonna lead the country is gonna be completely different. The way even Biden would lead the country.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's something to think about. Like, how does God actually look at how we have led the world and how we have.
And it might be different if it was still based on spreading the word. And I understand that colonialism was actually, it was a multifaceted endeavor, and the fact that it was to snatch up resources, but it was also to spread the word of God.
Yeah, it used to be when it first. Yeah.
Now there's no consideration.
No.
We're not sending no people to Iran to spread the word of God.
Oh,
no,
no,
we're just going to bomb the shit out of them.
Yeah. It's no spreading the word of God at all. It doesn't
No.
even involve that anymore.
No.
It's
And
completely different.
you know, like 500 years ago, or 400 or 300 years ago, the actual conquistadors, the conquerors, these men who showed up with swords on these boats, like those men themselves were spreading the Christianity.
Right.
Not their generation after, or the generation. No, those men themselves were spreading it.
Yeah,
Now
now it's just a slaughter.
yeah, what general is showing up and like, we got to get the Christianity, and honestly, what Democrat would allow it?
Yeah, it's a complete slaughter now.
Yeah.
You know, I don't. That's something to think about. We gotta do a deep dive topic on that.
Yeah, we might want to bring in a preacher for that one.
That's a very hard one.
That's tough.
That's a tough one. So we definitely benefit off that. We definitely benefit and continue to benefit off
the
that
death
stuff.
of everyone.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
You say, man, it's crazy. Man. But yeah, that's all I got really.
All right. Well,
Unless you got something else?
man, don't get me rolled up again. You spin me up again. Wind this toy up again, and I'll get the kicking. Don't start. Oh man. All right, guys. Well, good show.
Yeah, that was a good one.
This was an intense one, man.
Yeah, we covered a lot.
I feel emotionally drained.
Emotionally drained.
Oh. I was a little hyped up at the beginning. I feel like I hit a brick wall after that. Ooh.
A lot to talk about. It's a lot been happening in the news.
Well, guys, part of the reason we weren't here last week, we missed an episode. We had some issues here at the studio. We had some interfaces go down, some equipment go down. Not sure what happened, but we're back up and running.
Yeah.
And so it'll be back to being weekly at least. Me and I'll be together weekly at least and be bringing you some videos. Singularly as well. So appreciate you guys checking in tonight.
Yes, and we be coming out with some popping shorts too. We getting on this short game and really upping our game in that as well. So
yeah,
look out for that.
If you guys have any advice, as always, let us know. Questions, concerns. I don't want to hear them.
All right. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you again next week.
Have a good week, podcast.